Let's create something quickly while I give you your weekly bit of motivation. And before we begin, let's take a moment to introduce the channel to those of you who are new here. This is the SOB 3D channel. Usually, the videos will feature sped up content like gameplay videos, creating videos, and others in that light. As for the audio, you'll hear motivational talk, philosophical talk, news commentary, and more. However, on Tuesdays, there are 3D based tutorials with software like Blender, unless there's something that makes me unable to put out a tutorial on a Tuesday. So, if this sounds like your vibe, do well to subscribe. Back to this week's motivational commentary. I wanted to share my experience with something small that helps with staying focused or being in a creative mood. And that's folder organization. Now, I get that our minds work all differently, so this tip won't work well for everyone. But if you feel like it might work for you, here's how it works for me. So how I arrange the folders is I name them in this format. Date in YYYYMMDD format, project name. All right? So if it's not clear to you why to use YYYYMMDD format, that's because it's the main way that dates are sorted in alphabetical order, you understand? Just to throw light on that a bit further, if you make the mistake, right, of spelling out your months, for example, August will naturally be above January despite being 7 months behind. By the way, I recently read something interesting about how our months are named, so maybe we'll look at that one of these Wednesdays. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick recording suggesting that you try to label your working folders, and then when you make said folders, right, make sure to put everything concerning the project into the folder. For instance, I usually have a Blender file, a Marvelous Designer file, a Substance Painter file, and occasionally files from other software, right, per project. All these files, okay, irrespective of how heavy they are, will be in the working project, right? The working folder for the project. And this is particularly helpful because if you have limited PC storage, right, you can easily cut out the working folders you're not long done with to another drive without having to worry about where the associated textures are and whatnot. Another thing that I find about arranging items like this is that it can also spur you to create more often. If, for example, you have a folder where each project was created on the Monday of every week, right? If you can get what I'm trying to say. Naturally, I believe you'll be more motivated to make things at least each Monday. So if you're in a space where your output needs to be more like quantitative or consistent, I think that this is a good trick to use. Having a visual reminder of your track record, for example, so to speak, can be useful in maintaining that consistency. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's also the same logic star athletes have. Do you remember when in 2022, Portugal lost the World Cup and Ronaldo was emotional about it, and they lost it to Argentina, no less. So for those of you with surface level football or soccer knowledge, my guess is you can decipher the impact of that blow. Another instance is how, like Simone Biles, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, and the other star Olympic athletes somehow consistently excel despite aging 4 years with each Olympic competition, okay? bringing it to something that we talk about more often on this channel, the Grammys. You can see someone like Beyonce, who has built an impressive track record over over the years, and that's part of why I believe there's still an undeniable thirst for quality in the music that she makes. That one, there's no denying that one. Okay, if it's understandable when artists can win awards between pop and R&B, right? Or pop and dance, or even rap and R&B like a Caesar. But because these fields tend to have some form of overlap, okay? But when said artist is winning in album categories, no less, in wildly different genres, like dance in one year and country in the next, I mean, that's insane. So, and yeah, and this comment really, mind you, is making the assumption that a Grammy is a true reflection of music quality. We can argue about the politics of it all later. All of this to say, who knows, right? What something as small as labeling your work folders, how did we get here? Okay, but follow the logic. Who knows what something as small as labeling your work folders in this way can do for you, all right? Directly, it won't do much for you in itself, but what it does to your psyche is what I'm trying to refer to. So that's just some food for thought for you this Monday. Let me know what you think about what's been said. Also, tell us in the comments some of the small steps that you take towards keeping yourself motivated in this whole economic system we find ourselves in. If you enjoyed this video, either the visual, audio, or both aspects, be sure to leave a like. Thank you for watching and or listening, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.